Hey everyone, Ronan here, and welcome back to the channel. We got a massive part in the series finale of What If Ash won the Hoenn League. But before we get into that, you guys, I just want to give a special thanks to Mystic Umbreon, Pickled Dill, and Rune Scribble. Without them, the chances of bringing the Elite Four to life in this series was going to be near impossible. It's one of the most forgetful Elite Four in the entire franchise, and the fact that they didn't really get any time to shine inside of the original anime, I really wanted to give them a chance to carve out their own individual personalities in this What If. So they had a massive part in doing that, and I just want to thank all three of them for voicing the parts that they did. And also, if this is your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that way you'll never miss another upload. And also, don't forget to drop a like and a comment on the video to help fuel the algorithm. Also, if you want to support the channel even further, please become a patron or a YouTube channel member. You get different tiers and exclusive access to different things that I either don't put on the channel or early access to everything that I do. But with all that being said, you guys, it's time to close out this chapter in the journey of Ash, as we finally have reached the finale of What If Ash won the Hoenn League. I hope you enjoy. Wait, what the?
Hey Ronan, sorry to cut you off, but we had a few things to say before we get into things here. As this is the finale, we the voice actors would like to take a moment to introduce ourselves. First off, I'm Pickled Dill, and I play Sydney, the bottom Elite Four member but the scrappiest. Like Ronan, I make Pokemon What Ifs on my channel Pickled Dill, as well as non-Pokemon ones on my second channel, the Pickled Dill Podcast. So stop on by and check them out. Now back to you, Ronan.
Well, I wasn't expecting the intro to the finale to get hijacked, but I guess that's to be expected. After all, we had such great talent on this. But with all that being said, you guys, let's get into...
G'day everyone, Rune here. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the voice of Phoebe and Glacier. Doing the voice work for Phoebe and Glacier has been quite the experience, especially considering their very different personalities, and participating in Ronan's story has been quite enjoyable. As a storyteller that does What If videos of her own, it's always great to see the passion and unique ideas that my fellow What If YouTubers explore. If you want to check out my work after this, just click the link Ronan has left for you in the description below. Enjoy the finale!
Alright, now that both Pickle and Rune had their say, finally, let's get into What If Ash won the Hoenn League, the series finale. I hope you enjoy. We begin today's final journey in Hoenn with Ash and Pikachu sitting alone in the locker room of the stadium. His ultimate battle is only moments away. In the silence of the moment, Ash reflects on every moment that he's had since coming to this region. From meeting May and frying her bike, to each Pokemon that he caught and their evolutions, albeit in shape or power, the gym battles and the contests, even the world nearly coming to an end. The path to the Pokemon League was one riddled with one obstacle after another. The road was hard and the battles long, but each one made Ash, his friends, and his Pokemon stronger in their bonds. However, there is one thing that has plagued the mind of the boy for over a week now, since the battle with Drake. The words of the Dragon Master echoed in his mind, almost like Drake is speaking to him in real time. Suddenly, Ash finds himself standing across from the Sea Dog. The boy demands to know why Drake quit their battle. After all that talk, after the damage you caused to my Pokemon, to have that intense of a battle, then to just quit on your opponent is disrespectful. You, above all else, should know that. The Dragon Master does not respond at first, causing Ash to shake a bit in anger.
Boy, you have grown a lot, and these feelings you have are natural when you find yourself in the position you're in. But it leads me to wonder, why did you come to Hoenn in the first place?
This question stops Ash for a moment. What does that have to do with this? It has nothing to do with you quitting.
You're right, it doesn't. But it has everything to do with how you're reacting to it. So tell me your reason, or you will never get mine.
This stops the boy. Looking in the Dragon Master's eyes, Ash can see that he means business. The boy relents, telling Drake about his reasons for coming to Hoenn, the promise he made to himself and Pikachu. He needs to build a new team to prove that he truly had become a trainer that could stand on his own.
I see. Well, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that you have achieved everything you set out to. But I'm afraid there is one more lesson that you need to learn in order for you to truly accomplish this. It's a simple one that took me many years to learn. You must learn when to know that the end is near. Limits are important. If you don't acknowledge them, then you will never be able to move beyond them. That is the reason why I conceded the battle to you. Our limits have been reached. There is no point in pushing forward.
This statement puzzles Ash. He tries to say something, but Drake simply turns to leave.
Ash, this is a lesson that you have barely begun to discover. That is why your road extends far beyond this point. The road you traveled has already been one of many experiences and memories, but I assure you that whatever lies ahead will be nothing compared to the past. Now, trust in yourself and your friends. It will be what guides you in the upcoming battle.
Drake then vanishes, and Ash finds himself in the locker room once more. He hasn't seen Drake since that day. He vanished without a trace. It's here that the bell rings, signaling Ash to head to face the Hoenn region champion. Come on, buddy. We still have a lot to do before our road here in Hoenn ends, so they better get started. Pikachu then mounts our hero's shoulder as they take off down the hallway to the main battlefield. It is here that we move up to the champions box, where we see Glacia, Phoebe, and Sydney all arguing about the events of the tournament and how they've played out.
I can't believe the old man just left like that. He really has abandoned us, hasn't he?
He sure has. I didn't want to believe it at first, but even his ship has left the harbor. Drake is really gone. And now we have to deal with Steven on our own. That's not exactly something I'm looking forward to. I'm afraid it's much worse than that. I saw him the day he left, and what he said wasn't something that gives me confidence that he will ever return.
Come on, Glace, it couldn't have been that bad. The old man wouldn't have just left us high and dry.
The ice specialist glares at Sydney as she fades to the docks of Evergrande City. There stands Glacia as she stares at the ship that is ready to depart for a destination unknown. From behind her, the Dragon Master approaches, giving no gaze to Glacia as he passes to board the ship.
Drake, enough is enough. It is high time you started taking responsibility and stopped all this foolishness.
This causes Drake to stop in his tracks.
Glacia, it's time that you let go. For too long, we have tried to hold on to an ever-fading era. Our glory days are behind us. Much like them, you must find purpose, lest you end up like I did.
You know as well as I do that is not why I am here. You are trusting the fate of the League and the region to a child! Is this truly your will, or have you completely lost your senses?
I assure you, it's none of those things. For the first time in a long time, I can see beyond myself. The times have changed, as have us. But if we choose to ignore it, then the world will never be allowed to change. But that's not something that we can fight forever. Change will happen if we want it to or not. It's just easier if we accept it.
But this isn't just change that we are talking about. It's people, their place, their freedoms. We can't just play with their lives like this.
You must think I'm a blind old fool. I know of the settling you have done behind the scenes. Your words betray you. If you truly believed what you were saying, then you wouldn't have had an unseen hand in the boy's development to this point.
You left me no choice. Someone had to do something. If Steven has his way, then no one will be safe.
If that is truly the case, then I have only one question. How do you truly know that will be what happened?
I don't, but that doesn't mean that it's a chance that we can take.
But when it did become your decision to make, I'm afraid there is one critical oversight you made. By walking this path, you have become no better than Steven. But unlike him, you still have time to turn back before it's too late.
Turn back? And then what, just wait and see? Put my trust in a boy? Hope he can pull through?
Drake then walks up the ramp of his ship.
No. Just have faith that things will work out. The path that is laid out will never reveal itself until it has been traveled.
The Dragon Master then disappears, leaving Glacia standing there, unsure on how to respond. The elite can do nothing but watch as the ship raises anchor and drops sails before departing the harbor as the sun sets on the horizon. This is where the echoes fade and Glacia stares down on the battlefield. Goodshow can see that she is concerned, asking if she has doubts about his decision.
I have done everything I can to prepare the boy. If things turn out the way we hope, we must have faith in him. Because in the end, that is all we have now.
This is where we move down to the battlefield, as we see the two combatants standing face to face. Ash is glaring at Steven as they are being introduced. This will be a full 6-on-6 battle on a standard field, via the decision of the champion of Hoenn. The battle will be over when one side is out of available Pokemon. As the ref asks if everyone understands, Ash doesn't even blink, refusing to break eye contact with Steven, which causes the champion to comment that it's rude that Ash doesn't even acknowledge the official or his opponent. It's only the sportsmanlike thing to do. He admits that Ash has fought hard to earn his privilege, and as the champion, Steven will face him with honor. But that means that Ash must do the same. This finally prompts the boy to say that he understands and would like to get the battle underway. Seeing that there is nothing left for him, the ref exits the field as Steven looks up at Goodshow in the champion's box. The champion muses to himself that with Drake's forfeit, the president practically handed him over control of the league. The champion then smiles, happy to get a front row seat to the spectacle that is about to unfold. However, Ash simply looks up, seeing each of his friends in the stands. He thinks about each battle that they've had. Then it comes to May. Ash finds himself standing across from her in a contest hall. The two are in the middle of a great battle. The crowd watches on the edge of their seats as both Grumpig and Munchlax are exchanging attacks. A solar beam is deflected with a reflect that costs many points, putting Ash slightly ahead. Though it's not for long, as May can see that the timer is down to 90 seconds and this is only their first battle. In this best of 6 contest class, she will be the victor. After all, she wanted nothing more since the start of the league itself. However, Ash feels the same way, as he wanted to secure his win with a psionic barrage. But May isn't going down in flames, rather up, as Munchlax's fists erupt in fire that strikes the stars, causing a series of explosions that echo throughout the area that ripples, with Ash's views changing to see Steven standing across from him as his Skarmory sets up its second layer of spikes, while Pikachu does its best to avoid and answers with a Thunderbolt. However, Steven proves why he is the champion with his tactics of battling, recalling Skarmory to replace it with his Claydol, nullifying the electric attack in the process. While this catches the boy off guard, Pikachu is quick to respond, cracking the ground type with an Iron Tail as it sets up a sandstorm that blankets the field in dust. Ash tells the mouse to be on guard as Steven calls for a light screen. Knowing the champion plans to draw this out, Ash orders the mouse on the attack again with another Iron Tail. However, Steven is now set for his true show to begin, as the real focus of the champion is now in motion. Before Pikachu can land its move, the champion recalls the second Mon. However, its replacement will be the stuff of legends, as a Titan of Steel emerges to the field, a Pokemon that Ash nor anyone in the league has ever seen before.
Hey, when did old Rock Boy secure himself a Registeel?
I don't know, but things just went from bad to worse. Drake, what were you thinking leaving this to a child?
As Glacia tries to wrap her head around this revelation, we see Ash figuring out just how legendary Registeel is, as an Iron Tail is overpowered by a Metal Claw, as the Titan demonstrates a speed that something of its size shouldn't be capable of. Seeing he's going to need a different approach, Ash recalls the mouse for the moment in order to solve this puzzle that he now finds before him. Thinking about his choices, Ash runs his fingers across the balls on his belt until he stops on one that has the flare that he is looking for to topple this Titan before him. With a smile cracking across his face, much to the confusion of Steven, Ash pulls the ball, declaring, "Mawile, I choose you." The Steel Princess emerges from its ball with a pirouette that captures the crowd's attention. While this is the first time they have seen it, the opponents, May and Seviper, have watched the same entrance many times. With the timer started, both contestants waste no time getting to work. Seviper proves that it has become one of May's most accomplished Pokemon, as the type disadvantage proves to have no effect in this battle. It comes down to who's the true master of the coil. The Poison Coil compared to the Lava Whip is like poetry in motion, as the two gracefully glide across the contest hall as a bellow of oohs and ahs follow them. However, it's going to be Mawile's natural showmanship that comes into play here, as the Lava Whip is expertly manipulated around a Poison Coil as if it was an extension of the Steel Princess to not only take points, but knock out Seviper, just as the time is called. As the bell sounds in the round giving Ash the victory, the echoes ring and bounce off Registeel, that is now proving to be the master of the Sandstorm, as Mawile tries to take control of it. However, the spikes on the ground are making it hard for Ash's Mon to move around and concentrate on taking control of the Sandstorm with a Lava Whip. This makes the damage that it can cause to the Titan minimal with the light screen. As the sandstorm rages, Ash tries to think of a way to battle this, but the storm is thick and he can barely see, though this goes for Steven as well, so things are pretty even, giving Ash time to come up with the counter. However, the boy is going to find out firsthand that his sense of security is misplaced as Steven commands a lock-on. Our hero is unfamiliar with this move, so he tells Mawile to put up a Lava Whip as a defense. However, this is going to be of little use, as the next attack clinches the first victory in the match, when the most powerful electric attack Ash has ever seen rips through the sandstorm and the lava defense starts to strike Mawile. The last thing the boy sees is a zap cannon, ending his steel type in one shot, as it's powerful enough to disperse the sandstorm upon contact. This is where, for the first time, Ash gets a good look at what he is actually facing, as the steel titan beeps away, while Mawile lay in defeat. Recalling the Steel Princess, Ash is having a bit of trouble coming up with his next plan of attack, as he locks eyes with Glacia, as she remembers a conversation that they had had the day before.
Ash, I need you to listen to me very carefully. There has been a lot of hostility in the ranks of the Elite Four and its champion ever since the start of this tournament. Steven has blackmailed Mr. Goodshow into giving up control of the league to the DIDNT Corporation since our response to Team Aqua and Magma was less than coordinated. He aims to turn the league into a security force for the whole region and force ordinary people into a pseudo-dictatorship. However, we have differing opinions. Though I am not fond of the idea of placing all our hopes and our responsibilities on the shoulders of a child, I have gone to great lengths to ensure that you are mentally prepared for whatever is about to be asked of you. Whether it's fate or the need for a savior, victory is the only option now. Beat Steven or Hoenn will be doomed.
Those words have echoed in Ash's mind since he heard Glacia speak them. The boy breaks his eye contact with her, leaving the elite to watch over the battle while Phoebe and Sydney discuss things. Though they do inquire about her input, the eye specialist simply ignores them in favor of not missing a single moment. All the while, in the back of her mind, one single thought keeps replaying.
Ash, you better not fail.
From the corner of her eye, Glacia can see one thing that has broken Ash's focus so many times as we pan down to May, who is now standing across from Ash in the contest battle. Before her is Glalie and Chimecho, who are both displaying competent skill, though the psychic type displays more so in the contest setting by using its tail to wrap around the ice head and uses it like a bouncing ball that quickly gives May the points lead and the victory in this battle. The wind chime is delighted by this as Glalie hangs its head while Ash tries to console it. The girl can't help but feel happy as Chimecho has come a long way since she caught it back in Fortress City, but that's true for all of her Pokemon. This thought is interrupted by Ash saying that she isn't the same person he watched in the Grand Festival. All the training that she did really paid off. There's a good chance that he may actually lose this full contest battle. This pleases May, though she apologizes for all of the worry that she caused. The two then look back at the crowd to see both Brock and Max cheering them on for the first time. Things just seem right, and the two battlers know it without saying a word. However, they can't wait forever. The battle must get underway, so the next choices are called upon in the form of Beautifly and Milotic. May wastes no time in calling for a Silver Wind. The reflection of the attack causes a glare to catch Ash's eye, but as his vision comes back into view, he squints as the glare of the shiny metal surface that is Registeel hits his eyes. Facing the Titan is going to be a daunting task, plus there are the spikes on the ground. However, Ash has just the thing for this. With a smile, he pulls the next ball from his belt, calling on his dragon to take into this next battle. Emerging from the ball, Flygon takes to the air, avoiding the trap that has been set by the champion. However, Steven isn't worried, as with the start of the battle, he orders a Metal Claw, but the ground type is able to easily dodge this by moving out of reach. Feeling confident that Ash is going to fall for the same play again, he calls for another lock-on, which tags the dragon with the same red target that Mawile had. This is where Steven goes in for the kill as he orders a Hyper Beam, beelined for Ash's dragon. Knowing there's only one real way around this, Ash calls for a dig. With a pop of its wings, Flygon speeds towards the ground, spiraling around the beam of energy as it compensates for the new supersonic target. The one thing that Flygon has going for it is that the Sonic Boom provides a layer of insulation that allows it to enter the battlefield just as the Hyper Beam strikes. This causes a massive explosion that envelops the whole stadium in dust for the moment. Feeling confident, Steven tells Ash that it was a good try, but his dragon lacks the endurance needed to topple his Titan of metal. But as the dust settles, Ash is just smiling as he commands a Dragon Burst. Suddenly, the ground begins to glow in a blue hue as whips of dragonic energy begin to strike rapidly. This has two effects. The first is what's left of the spikes on the field are being disintegrated by the energy of the attack, and the second is that Registeel is unable to block due to the Hyper Beam, forcing it to take everything that Flygon can dish out. This results in the dragon surfacing a bit winded, but proud of the fact that Registeel has now been stricken with a paralysis that will level the battlefield between the two combatants. However, in this moment, Ash demonstrates that he is smarter than he lets on, as he recalls Flygon for another that has the power to topple Steven's Titan, his own heavyweight, Slaking. It's at this moment that something snaps in Steven. The boy seems to be undermining him at every turn. Ash didn't truly beat Drake, and the champion went into this battle thinking that it would be an easy victory, but the boy has done everything that he he can to show that he is here to win. If Steven isn't careful, then everything that he has worked for will slowly start to slip away. This is something that he cannot allow. So the champion decides that it's time to stop holding back. He will use this boy as an example for anyone that dares to oppose him in the future. In a surprise move, the champion recalls his titan. You know, Ash, I was going to go easy on you out of the kindness of my heart and wanted to give the people a show, but I can see that you will require a much more direct approach. So from here on out, you will no longer be getting an easy ride. I will dismantle your team one by one until my reign as champion of Hoenn is no longer in question. Steven then pulls out a ball. With a gleam in his eye, the champion throws it as the timer rings, and we see that the battle with Milotic and Beautifly has concluded in a draw. The points are dead even as the two collapse at the sound of the buzzer, as if it was only sheer will driving the two forward. Recalling the two Mons, we see that Ash and May have truly reached a point of pure enjoyment in this battle. The girl even mentions this to Ash. After the grand festival, May was beginning to think that Ash would leave her behind. It was causing her to doubt her skills that she had developed as she watched Ash compete in the Hoenn League. With each battle that he had won, the gap grew wider. That is why she isolated herself from everyone. But now here, at this moment, she has found peace. Everything that they went through over the last year, it just fades away as the two begin to laugh for no reason at all, though it does trigger a response from the judges as they tell them to present their next Pokemon. Still laughing, the two make their choices as Pikachu and Surskit are sent in. This immediately gets Max to start cheering from the crowd for Surskit and Pikachu, as the rest of the building fell silent to this random laughter from the two finalists. This triggers the silence to erupt in cheers as well. The boy seems to be infectious while Brock watches him scream at the top of his lungs, only to think how far that the boy has come since Ash and he met the two siblings. However, the breeder will have little time to travel down memory lane as the battle starts, and he shifts his gaze back to the field where we see Slacking staring down a Pokemon that the breeder has only ever heard about, the fossil Armaldo. Smiling ear to ear, Steven knows that this Mon will be the one to set the pace for the rest of the battle, as the bug simply dodges a focus punch with a dig that forces the sloth to stop cold, unsure on how to proceed. Ash tells it to be patient. They will get their chance. However, the following exchanges proceed much like the first, as Armaldo remains elusive, using dig to dodge all of Slacking's most powerful strikes while taking little potshots of its own for chip damage. Even a yawn proves to be of no use as the fossil simply tunnels away. This causes the normal type to grow agitated, which is something that Ash has not seen since its evolution. But much to the boy's dismay, this is what Steven was looking for, as Armaldo has now added Rock Blast to the combo that the champion has set up. This has cut the timer on their clock to end this battle in half, as Ash struggles to think of a solution for this problem. However, one presents itself in a most unusual way when Slacking stomps its foot in frustration. It sinks into one of the tunnels that had been dug under the ground. Smiling, Ash commands for a double focus punch. However, Steven tells the boy that it'll be of no use. He can't hit Armaldo, but Ash says that his target isn't the fossil, but its domain, as he commands Slacking to strike the battlefield with everything that it has. Doing so, the sloth brings down the force of everything that it can, sending a shockwave throughout the whole stadium that all of Ash's friends can feel in the stands. For a moment, it looks like this battle has ended, but just when Slacking lets its guard down, Armaldo surfaces, striking with the water balls from the side. Slacking merely looks at the bug as it takes a deep breath, ready to attack out of frustration. However, Ash decides that it needs to cool down, so he recalls it for the time being, knowing full well that he's going to need its power later. The normal type grunts as it vanishes into the ball. Steven is pleased with the turn of events as he feels like Ash has been thrown off balance. Though he was hoping that Slacking would have been taken out by Armaldo, he accomplished what was needed. Not wanting to waste a fresh team member, Steven decides to keep in Armaldo to face Ash's next choice, which just so happens to be the boy starter. As Pikachu hits the field, Ash calls for an Iron Tail. The mouse charges down the battlefield with its tail aglow, only to slam into a water pulse that proves to be more powerful than Ash was expecting. Surskit has really come a long way since Max caught it all those months ago, though Ash is still ahead in points for the moment. But May won't let things stay like that. With only seconds left on the clock, she calls for a Bubble Beam. However, May isn't the only one that has learned, as the mouse uses an Electro Volley as a defensive shield that, in combination with a quick attack, allows the mouse to fend off the attack and slam into Surskit. Though this costs Ash some points for the lack of showmanship, and also costs May points, which was enough to keep him just ahead as the timer hits 0. Though the bug begins to wobble as it collapses with electricity surging through it from the electric tackle, the mouse celebrates as Armaldo lays with spirals in its eyes, finally giving Ash a win over one of Steven's Pokemon. This turn of events is a little upsetting for the champion, as he was hoping to take out the mouse, but not unplanned, though he doesn't like that Ash is proving to be more difficult than he originally thought. So to throw the boy off, Steven decides that it's time to replicate the start of the battle by sending back in Scribble. However, Ash is onto this, and he calls Pikachu to come back as the mouse is starting to show its fatigue. Pulling a ball from its belt, the boy sends back in Flygon, ready to face Steven and whatever he may be planning, whether it's something old or new. As the two aerial battles take to the sky, we shift to the champion's box. Here, we see a conversation happening that doesn't show the greatest confidence in their only hope.
Hey, Glaze. Things aren't looking too good out there for our boy. Steven is still fully in control of the match, and our chances of stopping him from acting the goat is slowly fading away. What are we going to do if the boy can't pull through? Hell, even if he does, what's to stop old Rock Boy from going back on the deal with Good Show?
Sydney's got a point. Steven's only used half of his team and seems dead set on doing things his way no matter the outcome. I don't think there's anything we could do to oppose him even if we tried. Ash's chances were slim to begin with, but this is like watching an execution in real time. Death by 1,000 cuts. You both have valid points, but our hands are tied. Drake chose this course of action because he thought it was best, so there's nothing that we can do but watch it unfold. As much as we want to, there is no way to influence the hands of fate.
However, this comment triggers laughter from Good Show, who has been sitting quietly as the three bicker among themselves.
And just what do you find so funny, you manic fool?
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, Glacia. All of you have had an influence on the future of the league. Each of your interactions taught the boy a valuable lesson. From Sydney, the boy learned how to have fun in high-stress situations. Glacia, you helped him find a focus that I hadn't seen in him in Kanto or Johto, and Drake showed him the cost of hesitation. You all have done your part. So now you can do nothing but watch and see if your contributions were enough to achieve the outcome that you want.
I hope you're right, Orion.
As the three of them look down to the battle, we see Ash looking up at all of his friends cheering him on. Steven takes this moment of distraction on his part to strike with the Steel Wing, forcing Flygon into a dive. This snaps Ash back to the moment. However, this isn't a problem as the boy commands Flygon to keep diving to the ground and use Dig. Doing so, the dragon hits the battlefield with so much force that it causes a sandstorm to kick up temporarily. As Flygon tunnels into the ground, it turns the rubble pit from the earlier battle into a sand trap that forces Steven to recall Skarmory as he realizes that he won't be able to set up the spikes with the sand now growing larger by the move, as the spikes would simply just sink with every little vibration. Though Steven has been detoured slightly, the champion still has plenty of options, which he confidently displays by sending back in his Claydol. With the change of an opponent, Ash decides to leave in Flygon for the time being, calling for a Dragon's Breath. However, Claydol uses a sandstorm to dodge the damage and hide itself. Ash tells Flygon to surface and attack with the Crunch. The dragon does so, only to be met with a light screen that shows exactly where Claydol is. Ash sees this as a mistake from Steven, as now Claydol's location has been spotted by the dragon. Launching itself at the ground type, Flygon latches on. However, this was a calculated risk as Steven displays Claydol's versatility as an ice beam is launched into the unguarded belly of Flygon that drops the dragon as quickly as it had chopped down on the arms of the monolithic toy. Recalling his flying dragon, Ash thinks about what Pokemon he can possibly send out against this thing. It's clear Steven isn't playing around. With two of his team members down, Ash must be careful as not to walk into a trap set by the champion, as he's done it twice so far. But the boy isn't sure on how to proceed. However, he can see that his friends still believe in him, as Misty and May are cheering in tandem, making sure that Ash knows that they have his back. With a smile, he knows what to do, going with his gut and to have fun. That's the only way he will be able to win. Pulling a ball from his belt, Ash calls on his ace of the Hoenn, Sceptile. The wood gecko emerges from its ball and stares down, its final opponent of the region, as May and her starter Blaziken look back. It's hard to believe that when I got to Hoenn, these two were still in their first form, Ash says. Yeah, they've grown a lot, just like us. I guess it goes to show you never truly know how far you've come until you have something to look back on. I guess there's only one thing to do. Yep, let's see how far we've really come. Sceptile, Leaf Blade, Blaziken, Thunder Punch. This stalemates upon the clash, causing May to comment that she thought that would happen. However, Ash is feeling very confident here as he tells his friend that she and Blaziken will need to unlock a new level of power if they hope to beat them, as his starter begins to glow and overgrow. The wood gecko then stomps on the ground, causing a rock tomb to burst, trapping Claydol and blocking an ice beam all in one motion. Trying to free itself, Claydol charges a solar beam. However, much to Steven's displeasure, Ash won't give it the chance as a Leaf Blade cuts through the rocks and slashes at the ground type, dropping it as the light energy that it had gathered fades into obscurity. Recalling Claydol, Steven doesn't like what he sees. Sceptile and its overgrow is going to be a real problem if it can turn it on at will. This prompts the champion to voice his disdain for Ash being such an obstacle. He watched all of the boys' battles, yet each time he sets the pace, Ash seems to find a way to pull things back to an even playing field. Steven then asks the big question: why is Ash so against his plans for the league? He can tell by the way that the boy has been battling that someone got to him. They battled together in LaRousse. Ash saw firsthand the destruction that can be caused if powers like Aqua and Magma are left unchecked. The people that were lost that day. It's something no one should ever have to experience. All Steven wants to do is prevent that from ever happening again. Ash looks at the champion's box as he flashes to the day before. The boy was wandering around the outside of the stadium thinking about all the things that have happened to this point. The battle that he had with Drake, it's been about a week since then, and the boy has been lost since his victory. It just doesn't feel right. However, this is where the boy is going to have some unexpected visitors. The 3 members of the league that he had already beaten in battle are sitting at a table and seem to be in a discussion of some sort. Feeling a little lost and unsure about the battle with Drake, Ash figures that it couldn't hurt to get some insight from the people that know the old man the best. So the boy approaches the 3, though he was unsure on how to start the question. His presence causes the 3 to stop, as it just so happens that the boy was one of the topics of their discussion. The boy then questions the 3 on what is going on. He feels like the battle with Drake was hollow. Drake just left and no one has addressed the situation. Then there's everything that Glacia told Ash. Ash feels like there is something going on that he's not seen, something that he is caught in the middle of. The 3 elites all look at each other. With a sigh, Glacia then turns to the boy.
I guess it's time that we told you everything.
This is where we move back to Ashface and Steven. They left me with no choice, telling me that we both battled the same opponent. However, the way the Battle of Arus affected us was in 2 very different ways. As someone that was free to travel and experience life, traveling to other regions and meeting new Pokemon and friends, Ash can't agree with what Steven wants to do. Everyone deserves the right to choose how they want to live. I wouldn't be the trainer that I am if I didn't have the ability to do that. That's the reason he traveled to Hoenn in the first place. So our hero will do whatever he can to make sure that others can make that same choice that he could. Finding the statement taxing, Steven says that it's foolish childlike ideals like Ash's that led Hoenn down the road that nearly caused its destruction both in the past and in recent times. Choice is what allowed Maxie and Archie to come to power. Choice is what allowed humans to turn Pokemon into weapons. Choice is what allowed humans to do unspeakable acts. The only way to offer security is to eliminate choice. So that is what I will do with my next choice. Credilli, take root. Feeling confident that he is in a good spot, Ash decides to leave in Sceptile for the moment as the battle starts and he orders a Leaf Blade. However, he finds out firsthand just how wrong he is, as when the blades connect, the fossil simply sways with the blow, only for Steven to give a command of a Confuse Ray that strikes the grass starter, causing it to thrash about. This allows Steven a moment to set up his long game, ordering Credilli to use an Ingrain, allowing it to start regaining the health that it had just lost.
Great. Old Rock Boy has started his long game. The chances of Ash finishing this have just been cut in half. Before, this was a game to him, but it's become a point of pride. Ash has challenged his authority and the boy will pay the price for it. It all starts with his ultimate shield.
Don't say that, Sydney! We need to send Ash good vibes! There's still hope he can pull this out! Ain't that right, Glacia? Will you two cease your fretting? You are giving me a migraine. Just keep your mouths shut and watch.
Doing as they are told, the elites watch as Pikachu is taken back to the field, though the mouse has already given a lot to this battle, and there is no telling how much longer it's going to last, but they won't have to wait long to find out, as it cracks Credilli with an Iron Tail, only to have the last of its strength sapped by a Giga Drain, dropping the mouse and putting Steven firmly in the driver's seat. Walking out to collect the mouse, Ash asks if it's alright. While the damage isn't as bad as when it fought Drake, it's still worn out from all the effort that it put in. Turning his gaze to the ancient sea creature that wobbles before him, an ominous feeling crosses over the boy. Steven tells Ash that his chances of winning have just dropped to 0. Credilli is one of his best and has garnered the nickname Ultimate Shield over the years of battling in the stadium. Though he didn't come up with it, the champion finds it rather fitting, as no one has ever been able to truly break it. The battle is as good as over, so Ash should just give up now. However, the boy seems unfazed as he looks up at the champion's box. The elites can see the boy's determination is unwavered.
Come on, mate. Don't let Steven spook ya.
I know you can do this. Stay focused. Show him the power you showed me. Break that shield and claim your victory.
As the elites hang on to the edge of their seats, we pan down to Ash's friends, as they remain focused on the battle as Milotic is the next for the boys' arsenal to hit the field. Poor decision, Ash. I promise your serpent will fall just as easily as the others. However, Ash remains undeterred, ordering a Twister to start things off, blocking a Confuse Ray. But this is only a fix to one of many problems, as Ingrain is still in effect. Trying a combination of his best attacks, Ash finds that none of them are anywhere near as powerful as what he needs to cause the damage to win this. However, he finds that Twister and Icy Twister proved to be the best defense in this situation, as its ability to cause flinches means that it can set the motion in his favor. Though this is only a temporary solution, as Credilli is gaining more life than Milotic can deal damage. Face it, Ash, you're fighting a losing battle. Milotic can only go for so long before it will exhaust any energy it has left. Just give up and save your Pokemon the struggle. That's what a responsible trainer would do. But Ash, and more importantly Milotic, stand resolute in their combined decision. Fine, have it your way. Credilli, use Giga Drain. Countering with an Icy Wind, Ash gets an idea, but it's going to need Steven Steven's help for this one. Telling Milotic to close the gap, the boy commands it to coil around Cordilli. Steven has seen this from the boy before and chooses to keep as much distance as possible with an ancient power, but little did the champion know, this is what the boy was after. As with the call for an icy twister, Milotic uses the boulders as his own property as they become clad in dragonic energy and swirl around the serpent. This strikes Steven as odd, but then it hits him as what Ash is up to with the boy's command of a mirror coat. Suddenly all of the power of both Cordilli's and Milotic's attack are sent in the direction of the fossil. Steven can do nothing, not even recall it due to the ingrain. The champion is forced to watch as for the first time in the history of his reign, his ultimate shield was finally broken, giving Milotic the win in this battle, though it did come at the cost of a lot of the serpent's health. Recalling his fossil, Steven is a bit impressed and irritated, though more of the latter. Ash turning that around like he did was something that he didn't think the boy would be able to do. Now starting to feel like he's losing control, the disdain for the opposition before him begins to grow even more, so Steven decides that it's time to use power, sending back in his paralyzed Registeel. Ash knows that it would be foolish to change out anyone here, so he makes the costly decision to keep in his water type for the next battle. But like the boy thought, it's only a matter of a couple of moves before a lock-on and zap cannon finish Milotic just as it had Mawile before it, though he was able to land a water pulse in the process, before retaliating with another mirror coat in an attempt to close the battle out in a tie. But the Titan proves its legendary status and hangs on. As Ash recalls his water type, Steven seems a bit pleased with this outcome, though it was a bit excessive on his part. He views it as payback for Ash breaking Cordilli. However, much to Steven's displeasure, Ash seems unfazed yet again, even laughing at how much fun he's having in this battle. Steven is a bit annoyed at this, but he still has control. He just needs to maintain it. However, Ash shows why he still has hope, sending back in Slacking to finish what it had originally started. Knowing he needs to keep Registeel in this battle for as long as possible, Steven starts with an iron defense. However, the Sloth and its trainer refuse to let this Titan upstage them, demonstrating the real power it has with a feint punch. Sheer force and aggression that is put into this is enough to send the quarter-ton Titan into the stadium wall, leaving it in a heap of rubble as Slacking beats its chest to establish that the strongest thing in this stadium is the normal type. This action, for once, has left Steven at a loss for words. The control that he had is now starting to slip. He has to do something, or this boy is going to mess up everything. Now trembling in a bit of anger, Steven aims to end this battle with Skarmory. The ironclad bird emerges with a steel wing at the command of its trainer before the official start is giving, showing that Ash is starting to get to the champion. However, the boy doesn't really see this, only retaliating with a focus punch that misses. However, the elites take notice, wondering if they are finally beginning to see the cracks in their champion's armor. As they watch on, Ash tries to close things out with Slacking, but Skarmory stays just out of reach, making the normal type a little frustrated. This leads to a slight misstep on both it and Ash's part, as Skarmory is able to hit it with a toxic that floods the Sloth with a poison. Our hero knows that the more Slacking moves, the more the toxic will spread, so in order to buy time, he recalls it for the moment. With only 2 Pokemon left, his choices are slim, but with little other options, Ash sends back in Sceptile. This is what Steven was looking for. Now that Slacking is poisoned and Sceptile is the only Pokemon to battle, he has nothing but advantage on his side. It's only a matter of time, the champion thinks to himself. With Sceptile still glowing in Overgrow, the battle begins. Steven keeps Skarmory in the air, forcing Sceptile to take this Steel Wing. The damage is minimized with the Leaf Blades being used as a form of defense, but Steven refuses to let up, shifting to a more devastating Aerial Ace to cause some real damage. To avoid this, Ash deploys the strategy that he used in the Battle of Drake, as Sceptile uses a Rock Tomb and a Leaf Blade combo to create aerial stepping stones that allow the Woodgecko to get above Skarmory as it came in for the attack. This puts the Steel type in an awkward position as Sceptile lands on its back. The champion tells his bird to climb and spin to shake Sceptile loose. However, it's of no use. The Woodgecko refuses to let go, using a Leaf Blade to strike it and take control of its wings, guiding them into a nosedive. The speed that they are traveling causes a whistle to echo as the two spiral to the ground. Ash tells Sceptile to ride it all the way to the end, which Steven finds absolutely absurd. That will take them both out. In an attempt to preserve the bird, Steven calls for a Steel Wing, but it's no use as Sceptile deploys Ash's plan with a Rock Tomb as it connects to the ground, imprisoning the bird while the Grass type lands safely out of harm's way. Now, use a Leaf Blade, Ash yells. Quick, break free, Steven demands. The bird is able to do so with a Steel Wing that it had charged before, but it uses all of its power in this motion, allowing the Emerald Streak that is Sceptile to cut it down in a glorious fashion, bringing this battle to an end. Recalling the Steel Bird, Steven comments that Ash has made a grave mistake. The boy has managed to back him into a corner, and like a wounded animal, Steven will do whatever he can to survive. Ash will not take everything that he has worked for, or the plans that he has. The region of Hoenn needs him if they wish to survive another battle between the forces of land, sea, and sky. Steven says this with anger in his voice that causes Ash to tell him to calm down. Right now, they're in just a battle. He thinks Steven has forgotten this, but the champion tells the boy he has no idea what he is talking about. The people that died in LaRousse don't think that it was just a battle. They don't get a chance to enjoy life. They won't get a chance to enjoy the freedom that Ash preaches about. Your naivety sickens me, but not to worry. I have the resolution to this problem right here. Metagross, go! As the forelimbed of Metal Monstrosity hits the field, the elites all comment on this.
It looks like they're in the final stretch.
However, Steven hasn't been pushed this hard before. The last person to face him in a battle this intense was Drake. And then he lost the match and the title. Let's just hope it's not the same fate for the boy.
As they watch with their hopes riding on the boy, Steven gives Ash an ultimatum: forfeit the match and allow him to assume control of the league. In return, the champion will take the boy under his wing, and he will become the first member of the new Hoenn Elite Four. With Ash by his side, the league will be the strongest in the world. No one will challenge their might. Curious to what the alternative is, Ash questions Steven on this. With a smirk, the champion states that he won't be held responsible for what he does next. The battle that Ash had with Drake's Charizard will look like a walk in the Pokepark compared to what he will unleash. Smiling back, Ash declines this offer, much to Steven's surprise. Why would you put yourself and your Pokemon through the torture that I am about to inflict upon them? It makes no sense. Maybe not to you, but to me, it makes perfect sense. I came to Hoenn to test myself and the Pokemon that I caught here. You say that this battle is going to get harder, then I say bring it. That's what I'm here for. No threat will change that. I could never forgive myself if it did. Fine then. Just remembered, I offer you a way out. With Sceptile, Flareon, and Overgrow, the battle begins. The first exchange is a Meteor Mash and Leaf Blade. Though the grass type is powerful, the fact is there is still a type disadvantage here, and it can barely hold back the power of Metagross. Then, to add insult to injury, the Steel Behemoth glows in a blue hue, signaling that it just got a power-up. While Ash knows that Sceptile can hold its own, the boy decides to play this smart. He needs raw strength, so he recalls the Woodgecko for the time being. Perfect, Steven thinks to himself, as Slaking hits the field for the final time with a flinch from the poison setting in. It's only a matter of time till the Toxic does you in. But in the crowd, Tyson comments that Ash used this strategy with him. Morrison says, yeah, but Slaking was able to tie with yours, so that should mean the same result, giving Ash the win. While I would like to believe that, the truth is, the terms of this battle are very different. Slaking is poisoned, and Steven's Metagross is far more experienced than mine. What are you trying to say? Ash is going to lose? The redhead yells. No, what I'm saying is Ash needs to be smart about this if he hopes to have a chance at victory. The boys look on nervously as the battle begins below with an exchange of a feint attack and a psychic. While Slaking is able to push through and land the move, the fact is the power of the psychic and the poison held it back from using its true power. This forces Ash to invoke a slack off to stave off the poison for a bit longer. However, it won't stop another Meteor Mash from striking the normal type in the head, sending it toppling over. While it's still able to stand, the writing is on the wall as Metagross glows in another blue hue. Ash has a very important choice to make here. Try slack off to keep the sloth in the battle, or throw it all to the wind and use everything it has left. With a stern look from the normal type, Ash knows just what it wants to do. With the king charging both of its fists, the sloth readies one final exchange. Steven knows that this is over and tells Metagross to end it now. Using its ability to levitate, the steel type gets in close with a speed that Slaking cannot compete with in its current state. Knowing it's all or nothing, the normal type throws both of its fists at the metal behemoth, only for one to be caught as Metagross slides back before bracing itself with its two hind legs in the sand battlefield. This gives it the leverage to crack Slaking with another Meteor Mash as the Kong connects with its final fist. Both blows hit each mon in their face, though it is clear which one had more power, as Metagross pulls back to let gravity take over as Slaking falls in defeat with spirals in its eyes. With a sigh and a thank you under his breath, Ash recalls his first capture of the region. Proud that it was able to bring him this far. With no other option, Ash readies his final mon as Sceptile is sent back in for the last battle of this match. However, there is something that catches the eye of the champion. What happened to your Sceptile's Overgrow? It was so bright the last time that we saw it. Smirking, Ash tells Steven that he doesn't think that they will need it. Sceptile is strong enough to take down Metagross without it. However, the truth is, to keep it active means that they will have to burn through Sceptile's stamina. Ash needs it to last as long as possible, so they will have to hold off until absolutely necessary. Unfortunately for our hero, Steven suspects this and sees that it's his path to victory. With a new purpose, Steven gives the command for a Shadow Ball as Ash calls for a Rock Tomb. As the pillars erect themselves around Blaziken, we see that May's points are slightly lower than Ash's. If the girl doesn't do something, then she will lose this contest. That's not something that she nor her starter can allow. In response to May's burning ambition, the Fire type does something that May was hoping it would one day be able to tap into. The Fire Chicken begins to glow in a red hue as its elemental ability, Blaze, activates. Smiling, Ash can't believe that Blaziken finally did it. He tells Sceptile that it's time they went full power as well, as it begins to glow and overgrow. May states that she intends to win this contest. Keep thinking that, May. Sceptile and I will claim that ribbon. Now use Leaf Blade. Blaziken, use Sky Uppercut. The two starters clash with so much energy that a bright light of fire ensues. Suddenly, an overheat is fired at Sceptile as Metagross pushes through an overgrown powered Leaf Blade to slam the Woodgecko with enough force that a crater is left in the wake as the grass type lay unresponsive in the middle. At the command of its trainer, Metagross lifts its massive limb and moves off to reveal Sceptile laying there with no movement. Well, it looks like I've won, the champion quips with a smirk. I told you that you wouldn't like the the result if you face me. With things seemingly at their end, Steven turns to the ref. Make the call. This battle is over. I have won. Unsure on how to proceed, the official makes his way to the crater to check on Sceptile to see if it is truly over. In this moment, silence befalls the stadium in anticipation for the official ruling. All the while, up in the champions box, things seem to have taken a turn.
We were fools to have trusted something this important to a child. I knew that he couldn't have stood up to Steven. He hadn't had enough time. Maybe if Ash had a few more years, but now Steven will get everything he wants and there's nothing we can do about it.
As the Elite Three struggle with their decision to blindly follow two old men and put their trust in a child, we move down to the battlefield below. Steven says that this battle is over. The champion then looks at the timer counting down, awaiting the official reason to be given. However, as the official prepares to call it, a burst of green aura envelops the whole battlefield. Turning, we see Sceptile struggling to its feet as it stares down Blaziken and Metagross. The Woodgecko is moving on pure instinct. They are nearly at the end of this road. May and Steven are confident that this battle is theirs, but in one final attempt to clinch a win, Sceptile flares in Overgrow, forcing all of the energy within it into its blades. Looking his two opponents in the eye, Ash tells them that this battle isn't over yet. Sceptile and I won't walk away with anything less than victory. Steven is irritated that they won't stay down, while May is confident that it won't matter. This will be the final strike. Sceptile will put everything that it has into it. Now, use Leaf Blade, Ash yells. The Woodgecko flares once more in an emerald aura that has only ever been seen in one battle. Knowing that Ash isn't holding anything back, May and Steven prepare one final strike. Meteor Mash. Sky Uppercut, they command. The grass type puts everything that it has into a launch that causes it to vanish before the eyes of their opponents. Steven does his best to track the movement, telling Metagross to find Sceptile with its psychic abilities. However, it's too late. The Woodgecko has made its way into the metal monster's personal space with a strike of a Giga Blade. However, this is met with a Meteor Mash that stops it cold. However, this is what Ash had thought was coming as the Giga Blade begins to drain the health of Metagross. This forces Steven to command it to break contact when one of its legs start to buckle. However, this is too late as Ash seizes the moment and strikes with a blade that cannot be blocked. Or so Ash thought, as May has seen this before in his battle with Steven, as Blaziken raises its second fist with a Thunder Punch that manages to prevent a total knockout. As the starters look in each other's eyes, the timer strikes 0, bringing the battle to an end. The whole contest hall is silent. Both Ash and May look unsure on who the winner is. The points are so low that they are barely left any for either of them. This requires the judges to look into the matter. This takes a few minutes, causing the building of the tension to become nearly unbearable. However, the decision is finally made, causing the president, Mr. Contesta, to walk out onto the battlefield. Ladies and gentlemen, in all of my years of running contests in the Hoenn region, I have never seen a result as close as this one. But I'm afraid that we don't have a winner. Confusion befalls everyone, as the president states that the points between the two are dead even, resulting in the first ever tie in the Grand Festival. So I'm not really sure on how to go about this, but this is going to quickly get a response from a lone voice from Max in the crowd as he yells to let them decide, which is quickly seconded by everyone in attendance. The president likes this idea and asks May and Ash what they would like to do. Smiling, Ash tells May that if she's okay with it, then he has an idea. With a nod, May tells Ash that she trusts whatever he has in mind. Taking the ribbon from Contesta, Ash tells Sceptile to use Leaf Blade on it as he throws it in the air. The Woodgecko charges one final Leaf Blade and slices the ribbon, causing a half to fall into each of the palms of both Ash and May. Well, folks, I think we have our decision. I present you with your two winners. Please give them a round of applause for the amazing talent that they have shown here today. As the crowd celebrates, Ash tells May that he couldn't think of a better way to end his time in the region than going all out against her in a battle. He thought he was going to win. You would have if I didn't get a chance to see your battle end with Steven. Yeah, I guess you're right. Our battles did mirror each other pretty close there in the end. Even our finishes was the same. But that Thunder Punch to block the second Leaf Blade is what saved Blaziken from a total knockout. You really have become a great trainer, May. Your skills have grown way past what I was after my first regional championship. Well, I don't think it was so much skill, but luck and timing. If it had been a fraction of a second later, then you would have beaten me just like you did Steven. I guess so, but let's not think about that. We have a win to celebrate. Ash then takes May's hand and raises it in victory as both Max and Brock cheer in the crowd. The boy comments that he thinks this is the best way that it could have ended for the two of them, while Brock shares a little secret with the boy. This isn't the end, only a new beginning. As Max stares down at the two, he can't help but smile as we fade to the group leaving the next morning. On the way out of the Pokemon Center, Ash sees that on the TV there is a news article about the Pokemon Ranger Jackie. It looks like he caught Phantom and all of the crystals that were stolen from the Sea Temple. Well, it looks like everyone got a happy ending, the boy says, only to be interrupted by a group of young fans. Now that he is the champion, people recognize him out of nowhere. It's a feeling that has the boy a bit uneasy, as he's unsure on how to go about it, but it's something that he's going to have to get used used to. As one of his new fans asks where the Elite Four are, isn't Ash supposed to be with them as the champion? This causes the boy to laugh as he flashes back to just after the battle and his victory over Steven. He is in the champions box with Good Show and the other elites. The boy is a bit confused on what is supposed to happen next, but the old man says that it's something for him to work out. Ash should just head home for the moment. There is a lot that needs to be sorted out before the league next year, and when things have calmed down, Good Show will contact him to return to Hoenn, so they could discuss the next plans of action. Ash is okay with this, as though he has come to love Hoenn. He is a bit homesick and would really like to see his mom. Good Show wishes the boy a safe trip home before departing, leaving Ash in the presence of the current 3 members of the Hoenn elites. So, any advice on how to be a champion, the boy says, a bit uneasy. Glacia glares at Ash with a stern tone in her eyes. The boy thinks that she is about to scold him again, but what happens next leaves everyone in shock.
You've done well. Though I had my doubts, you proved that Drake was right in putting his trust in you. The battle you had with Steven will go down as one of the greatest that Hoenn has ever seen. I'm sure that you will grow into a fine champion. In time.
But what about the 4th member? Don't we need to find one if Drake and Steven are not going to be involved?
I wouldn't worry about that this time. While I was planning on leaving the position myself, I think it will be best if I stay on to make sure things play out in a way that we don't have to worry about another problem like Magma and Aqua again.
Oh, come on, Glaze, don't tell me you started to think like that wanker Steven. He lost his marbles in the end there.
Yeah, Steven would have definitely taken it too far if he was able to win and get control of the league. We can't let that happen again. Calm yourselves. I'm not planning a coup d'etat. I'm just saying that Steven's motivation was not entirely unfounded. We need to make sure that it never happens again. Because Drake grew to resent Steven, he didn't share vital information with us on the people of the land, sea, and sky. This led to all of us handling things on our own. If we had just communicated, then we could have prevented all of this. In the future, we must present a more united front if we hope to show the world the example of how things could have been done.
Well, what about Steven? Ash questions. Do you think he will come back? This comment strikes everyone as odd due to the events that have played out here. But Ash clarifies that he doesn't think that Steven meant anything wrong by what he was doing. He just wants to keep people safe. But because he felt that he couldn't trust anyone, it drove him to operate on the assumption that everyone was an enemy. If you want to show the world a new path, then we can't exclude him from the one that we make.
Though I hate to admit it, the kid's got a point. Steven would be a good asset in achieving this goal.
True, but what about his dad? Mr. Stone looked pretty angry with him when he came to take Steven away. Alright everyone, these are all things we can talk about at a later date. Right now, let's just take the time to rest. The hot springs are sounding quite good after all this stress that I've been dealing with.
Are you sure it ain't more and not the hot springs that you need to relieve that stress?
This comment causes Glacia to become immediately angered and a bit embarrassed as she scolds Sydney while Phoebe and Ash watch confused. As the elites show that they have bonded in weird ways over the events of the league, Ash is brought back to reality as May is calling the boy. They need to get going. Telling all of his new fans that he needs to go with his friends, Ash says that he'll be back soon, before excusing himself to join the others. Looks like you're making a bit of a fan club, Brock says. Yeah, but I don't think that I'll ever get used to it. Well, it doesn't matter. We have a schedule to keep, so let's get going, May says. Okay. Ash then looks at Pikachu. You ready, buddy? The mouse gives a brief pika before mounting the boy's shoulder, and they turn for their last bit of adventure in the Hoenn region. After a few days of travel, the group finds themselves standing at the first site of adventures that they had in the region, the sleepy town of Oldale. Ash comments that it looks like that they opened the ruins more, and there appears to be visitors. Max asks if they can stop by. He never got a chance to see them, but May tells the boy that they will have to do it another time. Their parents are expecting them home this afternoon. Plus, Ash and Brock have a boat to catch south of Littleroot. So, this is where the friends turn for one final goodbye. It's been fun, May says. Yeah, I had a blast, Max retorts. Yeah, when you weren't being a total pain, May yells, causing everyone to laugh. But this doesn't last long, as the weight of the moment finally sets in. Turning, Ash tells May not to stop training. He is sure that she can win the next grand festival that she enters. The girl responds with not letting the fact that Ash won the championship go to his head. That doesn't mean that the boy has become a Pokemon master. With a chuckle, Ash says he'll keep that in mind. With one final wave and a goodbye, the four friends part ways for their next chapter of their young lives. As May and Max walk down out of view, the boy asks his sister what he thinks Mom and Dad are up to. I don't know, she says. Maybe Mom will have dinner ready when we get home. I bet I can get there before you can, May yells as she takes off running. Hey, wait, that's not fair. Wait up, the boy yells as they disappear over the bend. As those two race home, we fade to the westernmost port of the Hoenn region, the city of Rustboro. Here, we see a very familiar ship with its captain, the Dragon Master Drake. The ship is currently being loaded with enough supplies that they can spend years at sea if need be. The captain watches with a smile on his face, but the solitude of this moment isn't going to last for long, as from within the shadows of the rundown port, a very familiar face makes his appearance. So, you're not coming back? Turning, Drake sees Steven standing before him.
I thought that I might run into you. Tell me, did you come for advice, or because you want to accuse me of manipulating things?
With a sigh, Steven asks Drake why he left the league. With Ash as the champion, he will need guidance. With your experience, you can be the one who should be there to do that.
I thought I made myself clear. My time has come to an end. The future needs to be left to the hands of those that will actually see it.
How can you be so confident that is the correct choice? Magma and Aqua rose to power, and we did nothing to stop it. We could do nothing to stop it.
The fact that you see that as a problem and are willing to admit that we messed up is the first step in the direction to build a better future. I'm confident that you can with the resources of your family.
But how? The people that were lost. We can't just forget about them.
We won't. The fact that you worry about them being lost to time like my people before them is proof that things are different now. Things have changed for the better. The seeds of a bright new future have been planted. We just need to nurture them. Allow them to grow and blossom into the leaders of tomorrow.
Steven then looks to the Dragon Master, uncertainty plastered across his face. Kneeling down, Drake has one word of advice for the heir to the Devon Corporation.
From one former champion to another, return to the League. Use your care for mankind to guide you. Don't let the boy walk the same path that we did. He is still young. Show him how to be a true leader. And in doing so, you will learn how to be one as well.
The call is then given that the last of the supplies to the ship have been loaded. With a smile, Drake stands up and boards the ship, leaving Steven on the docks contemplating his next course of action. As the ship sets sail for parts unknown, we shift over to the CANT region, following Brock and Ash. After docking in Vermilion, the two traveled for a day till they got to the point that they have to part ways. It is here that they are at a fork in the road. Brock congratulates Ash one final time. He knew that one day he would become a champion. Smiling, the boy says that he's glad that he got a chance to share it with Brock. Too bad Misty couldn't stick around, but maybe we will go see her at the Cerulean Gym. Smiling, Brock says that it would like that, but first, he has a paper to write. Besides, he wants to get home and see his family. He has a lot that he wants to tell them about his travels in Hoenn. Yeah, I get that, Ash says, extending his hand. Reaching out, Brock grips it hard. Goodbye, Ash. I hope that the next adventure can be one that we share together. The two then turn, heading down their respective roads that lead to a place where their heart truly rests. Home. Half a day later, Ash finds himself on the hills looking into the sleepy village that is Pallet. Breathing in the fresh mountain air, the boy comments that it's good to be home. Looking at Pikachu, the boy says that Mom must have dinner ready. Come on, buddy, I'll race you. The two then take off at lightning speed, making quick work as the sun begins to caress the mountain's edge. Soon, Ash finds himself in front of the door of his house. The boy flings it open, excited to see his mom and Mimey for the first time in over a year. He can smell the dinner is almost done. Rushing into the kitchen, Ash yells for his mom. I'm home. And man, am I starving. However, when Ash enters the dining room, he is greeted with the sight of something that he wasn't expecting. There at the table with Delia and Mimey sits Steven. Ash, I'm so glad you're home, Delia comments. Steven tells me that he knows you. Yeah, we do, Ash says, unsure on why the former champion is in his home. However, the boy won't have to wait for long. Ash, I come in as a friend, not as an enemy. I know that we haven't seen eye to eye in recent weeks, but I think that it's time we put that behind us for the sake of Hoenn and the future of it and the world. Sitting down at the table, the boy says he's listening. Smiling, Steven says good. Now tell me, have you ever heard of something called infinite energy and mega evolution? And this is where we are going to end the adventures of Hoenn League champion Ash. Tell me, how did you enjoy my take on turning Hoenn into the region that Ash won his first championship in? Did you enjoy the story and how I shaped it into its own original event? Did it feel like something that could have played out in the games or in the anime? Did you like it better or worse than the original source material? Were there any loose ends that I forgot to wrap up? And lastly, are you excited for the next installment? Because now I'm going to tackle the region that everyone feels that Ash should have truly won. That's right, we are returning to Kalos to see just how Ash could have won that league. And believe me when I say it, the story that I'm cooking up will be nothing like we saw in the anime or the games. But until then, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.